Hey guys, it's Reba. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, hi. It's also Halen. Today I am doing simultaneously a bookshelf tour and I am doing a pack with me type video. Kind of lo-fi, no mic, nothing fancy, but yeah, we are packing my bookshelf because I'm moving. Moving was not in the plans this year, but it's happening and it's bittersweet. We love it here. We love this apartment, we love our friends, we love San Francisco, we love the Bay Area, and sad to leave, but exciting possibilities ahead of us. The exciting part of the move is we are moving to Manhattan. We're moving to New York, which is incredibly exciting. Please reach out with recommendations and all of the things for me in New York. I'm already so excited to live there and explore New York as someone who lives there as opposed to somebody who's visiting. So we went about a month ago to do some apartment tours and to visit and just check out some neighborhoods, and I definitely got that New York bug again. And I say again because when I was younger, that was the dream. I wanted to move to New York, end goal. And so young me and now current me again, I'm just very excited, thrilled at this opportunity. And I don't know about you. I'm not sure about Halen, but she will have fun. She's a city dog. You're a city dog? Huh. It'll be fun. That's all the talking I want to do about that. Let's do some packing. Will you sit here? Okay, so I need to start building these boxes up. I brought 3. Hopefully this is enough. I can always grab, luckily we have more because we kept all of our boxes from our last move. I'll go through my shelves from top down. Probably not perfectly, not extremely thorough, but I'll go through the authors I have, books I've acquired. This is gonna be a very casual video for me. So, for instance, I'm building a box right here, and then we're gonna get started. We're moving in a couple weeks, less than 2 weeks. So we've started but for the past few months, we've been clearing out. Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't worry. I got this. Doing some Marie Kondo, some cleanup around the apartment. Cleaning out closets and cabinets and things like that. And definitely done a bookshelf clean and dropped off at little free libraries, books that we didn't want to take with us. This new apartment, okay, so the last 2 places I've lived in, this place and the house before this, both places had built-in bookshelves like I have now. But the apartment we're moving to in New York does not have built-in bookshelves, so I'm gonna have to get bookshelves for the first time. This will be the first time of me buying bookshelves. So that will be exciting. Okay, so I mostly have, I'd say mostly fiction in my collection. So the bookshelves are organized from this top shelf here. I've organized fiction and whatever nonfiction, essays, that kind of thing, by author's last name. So starting at the top and then going down like this. ends about on this shelf, the by last name organization, and then I have kind of a collection of poetry here, and also like, I don't know, it's kind of just like a spiritual, religious, and like poetry type books here. On the bottom row is a lot of manga, and of course I have art books on this row and this row, like art and design and like big coffee table size books kind of throughout. But otherwise this bottom shelf has manga, it has some travel books, and looks like kind of some like business books. Also, we have both the hardcover and paperback of these YouTubers book, Super Mega Saves the Troops. This is like some of his favorite YouTubers, and they like wrote a full book, and I think he purchased the audio and then the hard copy and the paperback. So those are here too. I guess I can show you, start like from the top, and I'll pull down some of these art and design books. I do like collecting art books and like design, furniture related books. So this one's great, A Pattern Language, Taschen's 1000 Chairs. I got this book because I love this architect's, Corbusier's architecture and design, and I also just liked this cover, this kind of vintage cover. Museum guide from the Prado in Spain. Another really beautiful museum guide. Black Refractions. This was an exhibit, a traveling exhibit, but that I saw, but from the Studio Museum in Harlem. Manufacturing processes for design professionals. It's like a textbook, but this kind of stuff is interesting to me. Jaden got home and brought me some Haribo, so we took a candy break. Okay, now let's kind of start with my fiction, non-fiction book. We have Leave the World Behind, Rumaan Alam. This was really eerie, really good. New Jim Crow. I have some Isabel Allende from Little Free Libraries. This is The Stories of Eva Luna and Violetta. I'm not sure where to start with her, but I know that I want to read Allende, so I've just collected these whenever I see them. Bunny by Mona Awad, which I read this with my sisters for our book club like last year or the year before. It was really fun. And that closes out kind of my A's. Like, I should also say that although I have some semblance of organization, I also just sometimes set books like this on the shelves without putting them back. Like books I picked up from a Little Free Library or read recently, I'm like put them here like thinking I will reshelve this, but as it happens, they don't, so we'll go through those when we get to them. I have O Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. This was a favorite from last year. Check Out 19 by Claire Louise Bennett, also a favorite from last year. Milkman by Anna Burns, also a favorite from last year. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. The Master and Margarita, something I want to read. Saw it in a Little Free Library. So the Parable series by Octavia Butler. We have Parable of the Sower followed by Parable of the Talents. So good. So good. Entering the Seas, I have Calvino, Invisible Cities. Aphasia, Gentlemen of the Road by Chabon. I don't know, someone that I guess I picked him up because it's someone at some point I thought I should read, and I guess I still think I should read him, so he's coming with me. Cute little penguin edition of Allison's Adventures in Wonderland. Hearing Trumpet by Leonora Carrington. I loved this book. I read this last year. Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. Piranesi by Susanna Clark. Really, really loved this book. Next, I have Cusk. I've read Outline. I've not read the rest of the trilogy. I ordered Transit, but accidentally ordered the, like, I think the UK edition. And the whole point of, like, buying these books, like the Picador editions, like I should have checked so that I bought the right. Anyway, like look, like the whole point of buying these is so you have the cool matching side. And I love this cover too. Like I love this book design, but now I have mismatched. So anyway, I'll probably end up getting the two Picador ones that match, but some Roald Dahl books from childhood. James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I don't think I ever read Fantastic Mr. Fox. But I did read this, which I think is short stories for adults. It's very dark. Joan Didion, Year of Magical Thinking, excellent. Play It As It Lays, also excellent. At some point I had Slouching Towards Bethlehem, but I think I gave it to someone. But yeah, I've read, this is nonfiction, fiction, loved them both, and also Slouching Towards Bethlehem. I think she's great. Philip K. Dick, this is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but it's the like mass paperback Blade Runner edition. I read this 2 years ago and I really liked it. But I loved like the movies, the Blade Runner movies, and I just think this one was fun, and it was really good because I read it with Frankenstein, or I read not with, but in the same year, and that was interesting to kind of compare the two. They're very much in conversation with like each other in terms of themes. Count of Monte Cristo, I read this like several years ago, and really fun. Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. Liked, didn't love, and this really beat up copy of Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Haven't read, but picked it up from a little free library. Sabrina and Karina. This is a book of short stories, really, really good. And I think this author came out with a new book that I think is a novel that I haven't read yet. But this was a great short story collection. Peach Blossom Paradise, bought it because I think I read a good review about it, and also thought it was a beautiful NYRB cover. The Neapolitan Quartet, I just finished this in January this year. I'm excited to read more. Ferrante, not quite sure where to go next. I'm gonna have to like watch Renee's video that she does like a comprehensive guide and kind of hear her talk about all of her books, and then choose where I go next with Ferrante. But I loved the quartet. My sister gave me Sharp Objects. I read Gone Girl, or I did the audio of Gone Girl, and I really liked it. It was really, really fun. But my sister gave me this, and I thought it was really disturbing. But I definitely like Gone Girl more than Sharp Objects, but I haven't seen the series, and I'm interested in that, so maybe I have to watch that. Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. I've read his other book. I think I started this at one point and didn't finish it, and so I'm holding on to it because I think I will read it and finish it at some point. Tana French in the Woods, fun mystery, Lord of the Flies, William Golding, Matrix by Lauren Groff. I read this last year. It was really good. This was my first Lauren Groff. Rabbit Hutch, beautiful book. Midwest American small town with really peculiar characters. It's really fun. I feel like that's all I should put in this box. Okay, new box. 20 Fragments of Ravenous Youth. I really loved this. This was a favorite from last year. I have Ya Jesse, Homecoming and Transcendent Kingdom. This was a favorite of mine a few years back, and I also really enjoyed this one. Scarlet Letter, Catch-22, cute little book. The Guest Cat, like very slice of life little Japanese novel. It was lovely. Price of Salt by Patricia Highsmith. Loved this. Loved Carol. When Elephants Dance. This is something I bought when I was with Dina. She recommended this to me. I have The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns. I read these like maybe transitioning from high school to college or early college, and these books were devastating to me and really moving, so I kept these. Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God. This is incredible. Loved this book. Ishiguro, I have The Remains of the Day and I have Never Let Me Go. I loved both of these, and I also have read Clara and the Sun earlier this year and coincidentally didn't put it back, so we'll pack them together now then. Okay, I have my Shirley Jackson, which I'm missing one book that I have. I think it's, I don't know, I'll have to find it. I'm missing Hangs a Man, which I own, and it's somewhere in my house. But one of my all-time favorites, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, well loved, well bookmarked. The Sundial. This is really fun if you want to read a lesser-known Shirley Jackson. I absolutely recommend this one. Little weirdo. So good. I have this. I picked it up at a little free library, but I haven't read it yet. I keep thinking maybe this, like I'll pick it up later this year. I think this is a collection of stories, essays, and just maybe other not, like things that have been published and then maybe things that weren't published in her lifetime, collected into one thing, and I think it's compiled by her children or family members. Sweet Days of Discipline by Fleur Yagi. Wonderful little novel, read this last year. My Tove Jansson NYRB collection, short stories, the Summer Book, and The True Deceiver. She's excellent. And I also have the first book of her comic strip, her Moomin comic strip too. But I think there's a few more of this that I need to get. A water bottle that's shaped like a book that we've never used as a water bottle. James Joyce. Breast and Eggs by Kawakami. I have had this, I don't know, 4 years now, and I keep saying I'm going to read it, and I haven't yet. Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I loved this. Another book that I read as like in my youth that I loved, so I have to keep. Okay, I'm gonna get to some of these books that I haven't put away yet. This was a Christmas gift by a dear friend because I'm like fascinated with surviving in a dire situations and like being resourceful. This seems like something essential to have. Pride and Prejudice. Mary the Case. We have The House of the Cerulean Sea. This is not something I would normally read, but I found it really cozy and delightful. Into Thin Air. Kushner, The Flamethrowers. I've not read Kushner, and I'm kind of considering this for my next read, so I might keep it out for when I finish what I'm reading now. I'm reading Catalina right now, and it's so good. I bought this like probably 2 years ago and haven't read it yet, but I know Lahiri is a must-read. This is The Namesake. Favorite from childhood, A Wrinkle in Time. This is another author that I bought years ago as someone like thinking I should read this. I still think I should read Lethem. Screwtape Letters. Picnic at Hanging Rock. I read this years ago, loved it. Good little Australian Gothic. Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. This is a fantastic collection of essays. This is a favorite from a few years back. Agatha of Little Neon. Carmen Maria Machado. Excellent. Recommend. Fantastic short stories. She's brilliant. Another great short story collection, Bliss Montage by Lee Ma. Emily St. John Mandel. Station 11 I loved. Sea of Tranquility I didn't love as much, but it's still a really good book and I like the cover. Strange Pilgrims by Marquez. This is short stories, and I picked this up also in a little free library because I know I need to read Marquez, but I don't know if I should start with short stories. My mom gave this to me and I haven't read it yet. West with the Night, Beryl Markham. The Color of Water, James McBride. This is also from my mom and I haven't read it yet. I love this book cover, Tokyo Yano Station. The Crucible. I have my Toni Morrison's Beloved. This was my first Morrison, and I'd like to reread it soon, actually. So maybe later this year. I have Song of Solomon. This was the second book I read of hers and also loved. And then I just read Sula last year and adored, so love them all. Moshfag. I have, these are the only ones no, that's a lie. That's a lie. I read Eileen last year. So I read this one first, really liked it. Lapvona, I had a hard time with it at first. But I come to appreciate it more and I just adore the cover. And then I read Eileen around Christmas time and I really loved it. That one was really fun. I'm gonna try to edit this so the video doesn't feel as long as it's actually taking me to pack. Like, this stuff is really hard. I get really exhausted. Like growing up, like cleaning my room or packing for anything, I always get so distracted. I find an old yearbook and then like 2 hours later I've been just like looking at yearbooks instead of cleaning. So I actually think filming this is helping me stay on task, although it's still taking me a long time. So I think box 2 is full now. And we still have like 2.5 shelves. So we'll see. Okay, my Donna tarts, because they weren't organized. I read Secret History like 2 or 3 years ago and really, really loved it. Had a fun time reading this one. I haven't read The Goldfinch, but it was in a free library, so I grabbed it. And apparently it's autographed. It is. It's an interesting, sad, illustrated book. Monster Calls. Edna O'Brien. The Country Girls. I loved this. I read this on my trip to Ireland a couple of years ago and fell in love with Edna O'Brien. This is like, I think, kind of the Irish counterpart, or let's say it's like the Irish Neapolitan quartet. It's the parallel lives of two girls growing up, but in Ireland, and it was excellent. O'Brien's great. And then I read a little novel, Night by Edna O'Brien, a couple of years ago and loved. Maggie O'Farrell is next. I have Hamnet, which I adored. I loved this so much. And then I also read The Marriage Portrait with my sisters for our book club. And I still love Hamnet the best. We have Animal Farm, The Memory Police by Yoko Agawa. I loved this. I picked this up at a little free library. Haven't read it yet, but I expect I will. My mom gave me this one, and I haven't read this yet. This is like now I'm like realizing how many books I haven't read yet. And my mom's given me Cried the Beloved Country by Alan Paton. The Chosen. This was a book I really liked as a kid. Okay. This one's great. Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. This one is wild and super fun. The Employees. I loved this book. This was a favorite from last year. Sally Rooney. This is, I really liked this cover. I haven't read it yet, but maybe this summer. It feels summery, right? And this is another one that I've been meaning to get to. The God of Small Things. Haven't read it yet. This is my Salinger collection. This Salinger was one of the first authors I really got obsessed with. Probably early 20s. I actually didn't read Catcher in the Rye in high school, so I read it because I felt like I was missing out. When I was interning in my early 20s, almost done with college, and I was like, this is amazing. I love Salinger. And so then I kept buying, this is the first author that I kept buying his books, auto buy. And Freddie and Zoe is probably my favorite, but I also love 9 Stories or Fred's Night with Love. I still haven't read this one, but bought it for the cover. Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, one of my favorite New York books. This one I read when I was young, and I fell in love with it, broke my heart, loved this book so much. So this is, I think Jaden added this to our collection. This is one he had, but it's a David Sedaris collection. But I haven't read this one. I've read one of his others. I don't remember which one I read, but I read one of his others on audiobook, but I haven't read that one. But Sedaris is fun. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I really enjoyed this one. Read it a few years ago. Alright, some unorganized books. We'll go through them quickly. Clarice Lispector. You probably can't read this one from here, but this is Clarice Lispector, and this is The Apple in the Dark. This is a new acquisition. This was a great one I read in the fall last year around Halloween time, Paradise Rat by Jenny Hval. Good, atmospheric, kind of spooky read. I think this is the second book in the Elif Batuman's. Yeah. This is the follow-up to The Idiot, I think. So I need to get that one first. which I love little free libraries, obviously. This is another little free library find because every once in a while I want to read like a thriller, like I read Gone Girl or Sharp Objects. So, hanging on to this one for the right moment. Also found in NYRB in a little free library. Never heard of this one, but I mean, you can't pass by, you can't walk by an NYRB. This is The Expendable Man by Dorothy B. Hughes. Okay. I feel like we need to get into rapid fire, and I definitely need to bring up more boxes. So, let's keep going. This hasn't been put away. This was Susanna Clark, Jonathan Strange, and Mr. Norrell. I started this book out in the book form, but ended up switching over to audio because although I enjoyed reading it, it's very dense, and I had a hard time keeping up with it in this format, but audio was great. A favorite from my youth that I've reread recently and still love, The Faraway Nearby by Rebecca Solnit. White Teeth, Zadie Smith. M Train by Patti Smith. Excited to read this when I'm in New York. Loved this book. It's Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of Your Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. Great nonfiction. Trick Mirror. The Hobbit. Another great nonfiction, The Undocumented Americans. I'm reading her book, Catalina. Born by Jeff Vandermeer. I just finished Annihilation, and now I need to get the rest of the books in this series, but Vandermeer is really great. I really liked Born. I liked Annihilation, but I really loved Born. I need to get another box, so I might just pull you in closer, go through the rest of the bookshelf, and then finish packing my books off camera, just so we can get through the rest of the video. Alright, we have Vonnegut, Cat's Cradle. This is really good, one of Jane's favorites. Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. Sharks in the Time of Saviors. Oval by Elvia Wilk. I read this for my new Weird series. This is one that Jaden had. I've never read it. Tobias Wolff, Old School. I've never read this, but I was hoping to read it at some point. Virginia Woolf. This is the first book I read, To the Lighthouse. And then I read A Room of One's Own, and I loved this. And then most recently I read Orlando, and I loved that. Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. This was a favorite of mine when I was in high school. And then we have the Game of Thrones collection. We were obsessed with the series, still love like rewatching certain seasons from the HBO show. And I've only read the first book, but we have the whole collection still. These are just a bunch of books that I've either read recently or got acquired recently from a little free library or a bookstore. I've been wanting to read Trust by Hernan Diaz and found this in my little free library. I bought Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid. I bought this at the Strand when we were just there in New York. Yeah, the Annie Dillard Reader. The Annie Dillard Reader. This I got at the Anarchist bookstore here in SF. I recently read Pond earlier this year. Really loved. I also recently read Study for Obedience, and this one was a good little novel as well. And this is called Little Big by John Crowley. This I got at a little free library. It's just a weird little book. I haven't read it, but I know it's kind of this iconic fantasy novel, and the cover was like so interesting. I couldn't pass it up. I have this Wildflowers of Glacier Park, and then here's just all of our like religion like studies books. We have Maya Angelou and like these are all my poetry books. William Wordsworth, Mary Oliver. Also we have like Hamlet, just some random kind of collection. And then of course I have some booktube writer bookstagram faves. I have Dina Clarice. I have her poetry book, Handspun Rosaries. And I have Nathan from Nathan's Nook. I have his book, Adolescent Sleeves. And then yeah, this lower level is just some big art books and large manga or graphic novels, and some travel books near the end here. Travel books and some random like career books. I think that is like wraps everything up. I'm obviously losing steam, but yeah, next time you see a Reba Reads video, it will be in New York, and I will have to figure out a new cute background because I won't have mine here anymore. So anyway, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.